Okay, in this video we are going to do the PTO Asian Open in Singapore post-race debrief, everything that went down and how my race went. Where are we going? Singapore.
I think the thing with Lucy Charles-Barclay is she's such a competitor, not only in the swim but across her whole triathlon pedigree.
There's no weakness there, is there, Crowe? She is the fastest swimmer, but she can back it up on the bike, and she's got the legs to go as well. Your mark!
Yes, so today we're at the Lee Valley Velo Park in Stratford in the Olympic Park, and I'm just doing my final testing before race day in Singapore. We fly there tomorrow and arrive on Wednesday evening, but we just got completely in race setup, just checking everything's working. I feel like I'm working really well, so now we just need to make sure that everything on the bike works, final checks before we pack it up, fly to Singapore and then get racing.
Lola and Pickle have been playing tug all morning. Session now, or is that?
Yeah, I was just saying I'm going to adapt it slightly because it's like 40-20s for 10 minutes. I'll try and do that, but it'll probably just be like 10-minute hard. And then I've got 12 minutes, there's 1 minute really hard, 3 minutes hard for 12 minutes, but I think I'll just do 12 minutes hard.
We'll see what you can do, because you're going to obviously be able to smash around the ball.
You carry so much speed, like I was going probably 250 watts on that straight, and then you just fly around the bend. You don't really need to pedal because you're going so quick.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite hard to lay down really high power on here. So
Well, you run out of
we'll
road
see.
type thing, don't you?
Basically.
Just try, make sure just test
We'll just
the
test
ears, really.
it, yeah, it's gone from little ring to big ring, so that's
That's
fine.
all really good.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was my first time ever in Singapore, and first impressions were amazing. It was a super nice city, so clean, really green for a city, like they put a lot of wildlife in there. The people were super friendly, couldn't be more helpful. The fans were amazing, just so polite and friendly, and just was really nice to meet a big fan base that I have that I've never really met in person, and they obviously were super excited to actually see me in person racing as well. So yeah, all of the feelings were really positive, and I'd definitely love to go back to Singapore again sometime soon. quite difficult going into this race because I knew obviously I'm off the back of a pretty bad injury, but at the same time my training had been going pretty well, which was why we decided to go and race. I think I never had a kind of outcome goal of, oh, this position would be good. The main objective of the race was really to just get through it and come out the other side healthy, given that in my last race I got an injury during the race, and with my eyes set on wanting to have a great performance in Kona at the end of the season, I didn't want this race to jeopardise that. So it was really important to just go and have a good race. The climate was obviously going to be hot and humid, which is exactly the same as Kona, so it would be a good test run for that. But at the same time, I know what I'm like as an athlete and I always want to do well. So yeah, there were mixed feelings. It was like, go there, have a good race, come out healthy, but at the same time, looking at the training that I'd done, I felt like there was a potential for me to still do quite well. So it was quite a tight turnaround. We always knew it would be from arriving in Singapore and racing. Pretty jam-packed schedule, doing lots of different cool things, such as going to do a run and Q&A with Amazon, which was really fun, again, to just meet some local people that actually work in the city. I'm obviously doing press conference and media things. So yeah, it was pretty jam-packed leading into the race. Jet lag was obviously a factor as well. We arrived at around 9 p.m. in the evening on Wednesday and then woke up very early on the Thursday. I think Reese was in the gym at like 2:30 a.m. I slept in until 3:30 a.m. and then was starving. So yeah, it was difficult to kind of get on the time zone. I think that was one of the hardest things, and maybe in hindsight, again, if we did the race, maybe we would get there a little bit earlier. But cycling is quite difficult as it is a major city, but I'm sure the amazing locals would take us on some bike routes if we go back again. The feelings were good leading into the race, and like I said, it felt quite low pressure. It was just about getting back out there and racing again.
She was injured, but she's put in a big dedicated block towards this race.
She had a torsion fracture on her metatarsal from a race, but she was saying that she was so fit, she was in such a good position, she didn't want to lose that fitness. So she was in Lanzarote, she put the boot on and was still taking to the bike to obviously work on the aspects that she could put some attention to, but the mental fortitude to keep on going. She really loves to compete.
Yeah, so obviously leading into the race, this is Singapore, the weather is very changeable. It can have storms and rain, and we had a lot of different weather coming in the day before the race. Even pre-race, we were actually delayed to go down to transition because it was raining. So I think that definitely played into like the factor of the race, that I've never really raced in that kind of wet and humid climate, and it's definitely something that now I think I want to factor more into my training here, that I'm definitely a fair weather cyclist. When it's wet and cold and horrible here, I do not go and ride outside. So I think in the winter, that's something that I'll definitely maybe do a bit more of, so that next time if we end up racing in super wet conditions, I know that I've done it more in training. I think I spent 6 weeks in Lanzarote pretty much solely riding outside, but it never rained because it's super hot there. So definitely something that I just want to factor into my training going forward.
How's the water, Lucy?
Yeah, it doesn't feel too warm actually, so...
Clean? Because it's the first swim here.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Number 3, PTO ranked 4th from Great Britain, Lucy Charles-Barclay.
So I guess if we start with the swim, obviously I had Sarah Perez-Sala with me, which I have raced with her before. I think it was in Miami where we raced on the NASCAR circuit there, and she did swim on my feet there, so I know the calibre of swimmer that she is. She is that Olympic level swimmer, so I wasn't surprised when she was on my feet for the first lap.
Lucy Charles' takeout speed is just on another level.
And actually when we got to the point of doing the Aussie exit, it was nice to see we've got a gap on the other girls, and I felt like, actually, I'm just going to let Sarah take the lead on this second half of the swim. I actually wasn't feeling particularly great. Like, I actually think I was one of the last girls off of the pontoon, so I knew I wasn't firing how I normally would fire. The swim itself was fairly warm. I think it was 28 degrees, so it's quite warm water. And actually, when we dove back in for the second part of the swim, that was when I started to notice the heat, which again is quite unusual for me. Like, normally I don't really suffer with the heat, but I instantly felt like I was quite warm, and then I knew it was the right decision to let Sarah lead that second part and try and get as much of a free ride as possible. But it wasn't even easy. Like, I just didn't feel that good, and it was just about, yeah, trying to maintain the pace that we were going and try and get as much of a gap on the other girls as possible. And I think we did a pretty good job at that.
And for once, Lucy Charles-Barclay has a bit of company. She's not going to be solo as they get on the bike.
So this bike course I actually loved. Like, it was so much fun. For a 80-kilometre bike course, when we were told that it was going to be 8 laps of 10 kilometres, initially I was like, oh god, like that's quite a lot of laps, maybe that's going to be quite boring. But they found every single climb or hill that there is in Singapore. Like, initially I think when you think you're racing in a major city, you're going to think, well, it's going to be pretty flat. But actually, when we was going up onto the bridges and getting up onto the main highway, they were pretty steep. Like, I think it was around 13% climb every single lap to get up onto the highway, which I think really broke up the field. Like, that's why we saw the gaps so much bigger than maybe they usually are, which I think is actually really nice. It makes for a much fairer race. It kind of shows athletes different strengths and weaknesses. It was obviously a lot more technical than any of the PTO courses that we've done before, which did make it fun because you had to just concentrate in maybe different ways than just head down time trial, lay down the power. I would definitely say that my power was very low for what we'd set out for me to ride at, looking at the training I'd done over the last 6 weeks. I had been biking really well in training, so my legs again just didn't feel very good. Like, it felt like I was trying really hard, but I just wasn't able to lay down the power. Even on the climb each time, the power should have been higher. So that made for a tough day, but actually I was still having so much fun out there. I think by the third lap of 8, I was like, I feel like I really know the course now. I can have a bit more fun with it. And yeah, it was exciting. We got to see the other athletes as we did out and backs and stuff. So yeah, super fun bike course.
As we see Lucy Charles-Barclay come into T2, the temperature may have dropped slightly, but the humidity is still off the charts.
I think that's something to really keep an eye on out of these front few women. Who handles this heat and humidity the best?
Yeah, so I'd say actually when I started the run, I felt pretty strong. I felt pretty good, and I remember before I even started the race, Reese was like, I just want a thumb up from you that your foot is okay. So I was like, yep, saw him, thumb up, foot felt fine, felt like I was running quite well. And then I think by the end of that first lap, I just felt really flat, really fatigued. I was trying to push, but then had to pull back a bit. And I think in the back of my mind, I was questioning, can I feel pain in my foot? Am I doing damage? Like, it was still those demons in my mind. And I remember my physio and a few other of the consultants saying, like, when you break a bone in your foot, even when it's fixed, afterwards, your brain can be telling you that it's hurting, like, oh, there's pain there, even though it isn't. And I think that was one of the main reasons why it was really important for me to do this race, was to get rid of those demons, so that actually the next time I race now, I'm like, well, I did 18 kilometres at a pretty good pace and my foot didn't break. So we know now that I can cope with that. So I think that we've got that out of my system now.
No, it was a battle. I think I really needed to do that race to kind of get the nervousness out of the way with the foot. At the back of my mind, I was like, am I pushing this too hard? But I feel like I've kind of got that out of my system now, and we can do a good block for Kona, and hopefully I won't have that in my mind there, because I've got through a race and everything feels okay at the moment. So the main objective was get to the end without an injury. Hopefully we've done that. The adrenaline's still quite high, so but yeah.
And overall, I definitely know I can run better than that, but given the small amount of running that I'd had, like when I actually look back on my training, I had really had 3 weeks of running. The first week was just walk running, and then I was able to do 3 weeks of gradually building up that running, and then it was race week. So I didn't do a lot of running, but the running I had done, I had felt pretty good. So I did still expect more of myself on that run, but at the end of the day, I gave it everything that I had and had an amazing experience. I think the crowds were absolutely amazing on that run. So much support, kept me going, and yeah, I enjoyed it even though I didn't feel that good.
As we see Lucy Charles-Barclay here, thank the crowd. She looks like she's hurting to me, John. It looks like she went extremely deep today. The zip's still down on the suit, which to me shows just how hard it was for her.
Top 5 though, Jack, for Lucy Charles-Barclay. Injuries again over the last couple of years. Just when she's finding fitness, has some setbacks. But she attacked it today. She gave it everything that she had by the looks of things. Be interesting to hear from her a little bit later for her post-race analysis.
Yeah, I think I'm really happy with the result on reflection. Like, I know that being a top level athlete, we are super critical of ourselves. We break down every part of the race, but that's how we improve and progress. So for me to come away with 5th place in a healthy body, put down a whole race in a hot and humid climate off the back of a really rocky period of 3 months with my injury, I have to be happy with that, but I always want more from myself, and I think that's what makes a successful athlete, and it makes me more motivated to go away, keep working, and make sure that the next time I line up I can put down the performance that my training kind of suggests that I should do. So yeah, I'm excited to get back to work now, keep working for the next race, and yeah, hopefully have a great performance in the next one. Okay, it's time to announce the winners of our Roka giveaway from our previous video. So many of you guessed correctly, but we've had to randomly select one winner each for the swim skin and the wetsuit from the closest answers. Here are the winning comments on the screen. My times were in fact 5:38.83 for the swim skin and 5:22.15 for the wetsuit. Congrats to the winners, we'll be in touch with you very soon. Okay, thanks for watching this video. That's been a bit of an insight into the PTO Asian Open and how my race went. I want to say a massive thank you to Javier Leon, who was behind the camera following my race and getting the content for us so that Holly could edit this video into something for you guys. So massive thank you to him. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos coming soon.